Hi everyone, I'm Phil, and I'm joined today by a very special guest. It's Chong, who is one of the lead authors of Revisiting Design Choices in Offline Model-Based Reinforcement Learning.
Pleasure to be here, Phil.
Thanks, Chong. So, to kick off proceedings, would you care to summarize the paper in, let's say, 2 sentences or less?
Yeah, certainly. So model-based methods have become increasingly popular in offline reinforcement learning, but crucially, several design choices have been heavily overlooked to date. For example, how to quantify uncertainty and how long to roll out in the model. And we show that by carefully treating these kind of non-algorithmic design choices, we can vastly improve the performance of existing algorithms.
That's really interesting. So, if I've understood correctly, what you've done is there's been a considerable number of design choices, primarily in the hyperparameters, that people have perhaps inherited from previous implementations, perhaps even from online model-based methods. And what you're seeking to do in this paper is to understand how suitable these are. And actually what you find, I guess, is by changing them away from their default values, you can actually get considerable performance improvements.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So, out of all the experiments you ran, were there any results that you found in particular, perhaps one result that you found in particular very interesting or insightful?
Yeah, so perhaps a particular surprising one was that existing ensemble penalties from the supervised learning literature actually estimate dynamics error in the model surprisingly well. And in particular, we also find that dynamics error in the model doesn't really accumulate over time. So practitioners should actually feel free to trust the model more and use longer model rollouts provided the uncertainty quantification is good enough.
Cool. So, that kind of goes against the perhaps perceived wisdom currently in model based, which is you want to maybe have shorter rollouts simply because there's this belief there's accumulating errors, but it seems like you didn't find that was the case in this paper. So I guess that could be considered an insight that practitioners should be taking going forward when working in offline model-based methods. I guess in summary then, what do you think were the top 3 insights from this paper that practitioners should be particularly paying attention to and considering for future research?
Model-based methods are probably only going to get more popular in offline reinforcement learning. So what we hope that practitioners take away from our paper is that when penalizing rewards by dynamics uncertainty, one should prefer the more principled ensemble penalties from the literature. One should feel free to trust the model and use longer rollouts, and one should also be careful about the shape of the distribution of the uncertainty penalties, which also advocates for learning metaparameters to control for these.
That sounds really important and insightful for future research. And I think maybe things that people hadn't thought about or considered previously. So I guess kind of on that note, Chong, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on my
Pleasure's all
show.
mine.
And if you want to see more about the paper, perhaps something Chong said piqued your interest, then please do come to our poster session. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to reach out to either one of us. Our emails are in the paper, and you can find the paper on arXiv or on Open Review. Thank you very much.
Thank you.